For you to be lovey.
Hey, Angelo. The cat can join us.
She will. She's going to sit on my keyboard.
Well, welcome back to another podcast on Automatic, and we've got another episode to talk about some of the cool things that's coming out on the platform. So for those of you who are FileMaker developers and interested in FileMaker hosting and FileMaker server and what we're doing on the Automatic platform, I think there's some cool things here that we can talk about today. Hi, Angelo.
Hey, Ernest. How are you?
I'm doing all right. So why don't we get right into it? So I think we've got some interesting things happening on Automatic, right? And one of the things that we want to bring out today is Automatic Essentials. You may want to share a bit. Automatic Essentials, is that new? Is that something people have seen before? Like, what's happening there?
Automatic Essentials has been around for a limited time right now. It's the next evolution of shared hosting. So back in the early days of FileMaker, FileMaker had shared servers. You could put multiple tenants on there and people just accessed the same server. It was low cost, it was inexpensive, but it did create some problems with compliance and, data security and whatnot. So
Wait. So before, but make sure I got this right. I think I understand this, right? But back in the old days, so to speak, old days, you could literally put lots of different customers' files and database on one FileMaker server, right?
It was allowed by the license, yes.
Yeah, and then that stopped around 15. Was it 16?
FileMaker 15 server rewrote the licensing for that, or Claris rewrote the licensing for that to sort of stop that process, requiring a single server for each of their customers.
But it was never really a good idea to begin with, right? Because of security and sort of
it was truly designed for just a small team, just a couple of files, couple of users, that kind of thing, and just something low cost and get someone going. A lot of the hosts out there did that because, again, it was an affordable option rather than spending the money on a dedicated infrastructure.
Right. But so to be clear, we have never really offered something like that for modern FileMaker systems since 15, right?
I wouldn't recommend that. Yeah.
Right. But the idea was kind of cool. The idea that you could have a multi-tenant way of making and deploying a server that people can take advantage of without having to have a whole dedicated VM just for that server for certain use cases, like even dev machines. Like how often do we want just to spin up a dev machine and not have to hog up a whole VM? And sometimes you need that extra juice occasionally, but not all the time, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Okay, so yeah, that's the old days, but this is not what we're talking about. So Automatic Essentials is something different. Yeah.
It's something different. It's container-based, so built around Docker. What this affords us to do is to grab a large bare metal server and containerize it. So we can get your FileMaker database and FileMaker infrastructure in a container. We offer it in two different flavors, right? We've got Essentials and Essentials Pro, which is a HTTPS tunneling version. And then we have a FB1 version, which is just like any other server. It's still containerized, but you get a dedicated IP, v4, and v6 address that you can connect to through standard FileMaker networking protocol. Yeah. And there's differences in why we did this.
Yeah. Talk about that, because we looked at Dockerized hosting instances. I mean, we've been looking at it for a long time, but we've elected to mostly use VMs for our production and publicly
that's correct
hosted offerings, right? You want to say more about that?
Yeah, the reason we didn't really focus on Docker infrastructure originally was because we had compliance to maintain and meet. Docker's great and wonderful, but the way it's designed right now for FileMaker is it has to run in a privileged mode, and this gives each container a little more access to the host operating system than we would like for a really compliant production server, which makes it, better suited for a small team that doesn't have strict compliance requirements or a dev server environment. And that's truly what it was designed for right now.
So our Docker instances on Automatic today, Automatic Essentials, in fact, is Docker base, fully compliant, runs its own secure encrypted file system
Storage. That's right.
storage. Yeah.
So we took it a step further. We basically mount a private disk image where customer data is kept. Docker in its traditional sense just shares everything. All of your data normally goes in the same file system and it's just folder separated. So we're mounting a logical drive for every customer to secure it even further. And those logical drives are encrypted at rest. So we have protections in place to make it more compliant. Data security is our number one.
Right. And partly that's because SOC 2 expectations and requirements compels us to actually do more than just go, YOLO, here's your data, right? And
that's right. That's right. Yeah. So, I mean, there are multiple ways to do it. And there's companies out there that choose to do it the normal standard way, which, could be fine for some, but, you're not meeting compliance by doing it that way. So we have to take it that extra step.
Or we're not meeting compliance if we did it the other way, right? So there was that risk too, in terms of, it's one thing if the customer is sort of oblivious to whether or not the security layer is actually good or not. It's another thing when we get audited and go, well, that's not going to work. And that's
right.
That's no bueno.
We don't want an auditor to look at our infrastructure and our documentation and say we have increased the attack surface for our customers. That's just not something we want to have happen. We want to be good stewards of people's data.
So this is very cool. So recap. Automatic Essentials, basically Dockerized instances running on really freaking amazing, fast, big bare metal servers that are available to people through the Automatic platform and Automatic console. Is provisioning the same as any Automatic instance?
Provisioning is the same. You fill out our form and the request will get processed and the instance will be provisioned. And I was mentioning before that we've got two different flavors of Automatic Essentials, right? We've got the standard Essentials, which does include licensing for FileMaker Pro, and we'll get into that in a second, and then a bring your own license version of that. And those both require the HTTPS tunneling protocol between FileMaker Server and Pro. And then we have an FB1 version, which is more suited as a standard dev server, for instance. It has a dedicated IPv4 and v6 address, and allows you to connect via FileMaker networking. Now, the reason we did HTTPS tunneling is so we could take advantage of a couple of very cool things with Cloudflare's global network infrastructure. We accelerate and secure traffic through their Argo smart routing platform. So this is finding the shortest route between your computer and the server through their private network. So it avoids a lot of network latency and a lot of network issues in between. So I was saying that Essentials is great for a small team. This makes it even better because it's accelerating your traffic, it's securing your traffic. So we're running protocols on that traffic to make sure that there's no malware, there's nobody listening in between, things like that. So we've got checks and balances in place to make sure you're running as smooth as possible and as secure as possible as well. And one thing this also did is if you are using this Essentials account to do some deployments, it accelerates your OttoFMS traffic as well. So you get faster deployments in DevOps.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like Essentials is less than the full VM instance. In fact, it may be more in a lot of cases. I mean,
it's more in a lot of cases, but there's trade-offs. With VMs, we can do more redundancy for backups. We have different firewall options and different DDoS options.
Right.
There's a trade-off on Essentials where we don't have some of those features, but we make up for it in other features where we take advantage of Cloudflare's accelerated and secure network and infrastructure to make up for the differences in firewall and things like that.
Yeah, well, it sounds like Essentials is really like maybe we should have named it Automatic Happy, because it's like the happy path towards a fast machine instance that will do all your FileMaker workloads that has all the benefits of automatic the platform and the console and all of that. It's missing, quote unquote, it's missing some of the more advanced features, like some of the firewalling and some of
Yeah.
the custom backup options that people want. But good grief, it sounds like from a performance standpoint, there's really no difference. If not, it's actually better in some cases, if
Yeah.
not most cases for a lot of standard workloads.
Yeah,
Um,
the two regular essentials tiers aren't really geared towards a developer. For instance, we
right,
do lock down access to the admin console, so there is no admin
right.
console access. But the majority of those functions can be performed from within our cloud console, and this is why Essentials is so great over, so say, shared hosting, for instance, right? Uh, it integrates directly with our cloud console. So rather than seeing nothing, you actually see your container listed in our console, and you can do file uploads and downloads. You can access our 14 days of offsite backups and do restores. You can see your users. You can manage all of the advanced features of OttoFMS like webhooks and MCP servers through this as well. So we tried to make it, again, as powerful as possible and give you as many features as possible, even if you're not a developer.
Yeah, so one option Essential has that we do not offer on the Pro or the standard tier is that you can get an Essentials instance with a small number of users without having to do a 5 user minimum, and you can and
Correct.
that's bundled in the pricing itself, right? So we do per user pricing on Essentials.
That's correct. Our base essentials plan, which is our most popular, bundles the FileMaker licensing in with the hosting. So at a low cost per user, you get both the Pro license and the hosting. Now, again, we're limiting that to 5 users, but you don't have to contact Claris. You don't have to wait for them to process your licensing request. You get immediate access to that licensing through our program, and you're off and running. It's one stop shop for everything. You run your
And that's
business and just forget about this end of it. We'll take care of it.
Yeah, so let me underscore that. That's really important. So 5 users or less or fewer, um, Essential is absolutely the way to go. Very quick startup. You can do one, you can do two, you can do four, whatever, five. But beyond five, we're really saying that should be in the standard or pro tier at Automatic for a dedicated
Yeah.
VM, right?
Yeah,
Um,
with the Essentials Pro plan, you can bring your own licensing. You can run more than 5. It's really geared towards that small work group, though. And again, with the FB1 version of it, you could put more than 5 on there. But again, it's really designed for that 5 or fewer group.
right. So, and every single Essentials instance is an isolated instance for your organization and your team. Like it's not shared with anybody else. It's not sitting on some kind um, um, and yeah, that's pretty awesome. But so it occurs to me that because of the way we've set this up, that is great for small teams, and it's also great for devs, like for devs who need a single instance or a dedicated dev machine or two, where you're not paying 5 licenses for a dev server, and of course there's always a dev server licenses program from Claris, but maybe say a little
Correct.
bit more about what this gets you that doesn't get you out of the box.
Yeah, the Claris dev license, I think, is a developer license for 3 users, and I've seen some for 5 as well. But it's just a license that Claris gets you.
Right.
We are giving you, so if you go with our FB1 developer plan, you would still want to bring that license. We just give you a lower cost Docker container to get going with that existing license you already have. So there's that option. If you don't have the licensing already and you want to jump right in and you're good with the tunneling, um, you can grab our standard essentials plans and get that 1 or 2 users to get your development environment up and running, get your concept up and running, And again, it's low cost, it's easy startup, and you don't have to worry about subscribing for, multi-year for licensing through Claris, and having to wait and go through those hurdles. Really takes the friction out of it.
Yeah, so really three different tiers for essentials, so three different pricing plans for essentials. One is
That's right.
the
Per
what we're
user.
calling is
Yep.
per user. That's $30 per month per user.
With a cap
Teams
at
up to
five.
five, cap of
Yep.
five, and then you can also bring your own license, which is the other option, which is then you're paying more per user, slightly more per user, but you can do much larger essential deployments, and you can do your dev licenses, anything that you want to, right? And that
That's
starts
right.
at $59
59.
per user, BYOL. And then once you can also go up from there, again, Dockerized containers, and then you're in a bigger Docker instance, deployment instance. Also bring your own license if you want. Then you can do direct FM networking and other things that you want, custom domains, but still on the essentials Docker sort of environment. Right.
That's correct. That's correct.
Cool. Well, there's a lot going on here. So I know there are a few things that we probably should share out. And people always ask, so a plugin supported in a
Plugins are
container?
plugins are definitely supported in the containers.
Okay.
Unlike shared hosting or something where you wouldn't want a plugin on the file system because it could present a security risk, this is a dedicated container. So you can run plugins within the server side or WebDirect side, data API side, however you want to do it. And you can use your FileMaker scripting to automatically deploy those plugins, and we can help you with that as well.
But you don't get access to admin console, FileMaker
That's
server admin
correct.
console.
That's correct.
Although, because OttoFMS is installed in every instance, including Essentials instance, you still can manage stuff through OttoFMS.
100%. You can manage your FileMaker server through both the Cloud Console or through AutoFMS.
Cool. Yeah, we should probably talk a little bit more about tunneling, because I think that's a sleeper feature. I know you mentioned performance. Is this
I did.
available in what version of
Version
FileMaker do people need to be on? Yeah.
version 21 or better has tunneling support,
Okay.
and we currently only support the current shipping versions. So right now it's versions 2024 and 2025. So 21 and 22 are the versions supported with Essentials. And the tunneling feature, like you mentioned, was a very interesting sleeper function. It was designed to help a couple of unique companies that Claris was supporting with some particular features. And I think it's a feature that people should really take advantage of. I know I've worked with certain companies that have issues opening up ports, 5003 to the outside world. Everything's got to go through 443 and have SSLs and whatnot. The tunneling, takes care of that. So it operates on 443. There is a checkbox that needs to be set in both the server and the client in order for that to work. Once that's enabled on both ends, you will operate over that 443. Now, putting Cloudflare in the mix, Cloudflare handles the SSL certificate, so you never have to worry about the SSL certificate again. They auto-renew it. They run it on their infrastructure. So your server may show it's running the Claris default certificate, but that tunnel is protected by actual secure certificates hosted within Cloudflare.
Huh. So if people run as Automatic Essentials and is tunneling required? Was that an option? First question.
Tunneling is required on the Essentials and Essentials Pro plans. It's the FB1 where you can use regular FileMaker networking. So we wanted to celebrate that feature because it does have some benefits, and those benefits are being able to run it through secure proxies and secure networking, and to be able to accelerate that HTTP traffic,
Right.
which is
But
huge.
out of the box, you don't have to worry about SSL certificates. There's no install upgrades. I mean, we already manage that, but with Essentials, with tunneling, because it's running over Cloudflare into our networks, it becomes just built in, basically. That's what you're saying.
That's correct. It's all built in. Now, you had mentioned upgrades before, and upgrades is a very cool thing with Dockerized
Hmm.
systems. We, for compliance reasons, have a weekly cadence to apply security patches. So we do
Hmm.
weekly builds of a Docker container and we apply it automatically to all Docker instances. So you're getting OS security patches every week. You're also getting automatic upgrades as well within that. And that covers our OttoFMS as well as FileMaker Server within the major version that you're in.
Yeah. And thinking about devs for a minute, I think one of the things that's really intriguing about this kind of architecture is that there's actually a really positive side effect of being hosted on a very beefy bare metal server, right? Because we
That
have
is.
we have AutoFMS and auto deploy that that basically is installed, and it takes advantage of that entire bare metal server.
That's right.
Um,
Docker affords every container the ability to expand briefly above its limits. So we guarantee a 4-core, 8 gig of RAM
mm,
minimum to every container, every FileMaker container that's deployed on that server. But you run AutoFMS and you do a deployment, and that migration process can sometimes ask for more memory. So you could potentially shoot up quickly to 32 gig of RAM required in order to do a performant migration of data. And Docker allows that to happen, afterwards scales it back down automatically and handles that memory release. So it's clean. So you get that bursted benefit with that bare metal server and Docker.
so as a dev server where you're running or a dev environment server, whether it's actual dev or staging or testing, I mean that could speed up some auto FMS and auto deploy workloads and getting those things pushed out quickly and built quickly and so forth.
That's right. We've seen almost a 10x increase in performance in some cases.
Yeah. So interesting. So something to consider if you have large implementations or large FileMaker files where it may take some time for auto to chew across it for deployment purposes. But this would be one way to kind of get around that issue, right?
100%. 100%.
Okay. Well, that all sounds extremely intriguing. Anything else I missed, Angelo, in talking about this?
So there are a couple of caveats to Automatic Essentials, as there are for everything. One thing, the Essentials and Bring Your Own License plans, the Essentials, those two plans do not support is ODBC connectivity. Because we're tunneling, we can't open up port 2399, which you would use to connect in. And based on the usage across our entire infrastructure, it's a very small amount of users that use that, and frankly, those people usually require more horsepower in order to run that. That can actually chew up an enormous amount of memory and disk space very quickly.
Got it.
So that feature is one of those. And again, the admin console for the Essentials and BYOL plans, do not include the admin console. That's something that we keep locked down. We keep that configuration safe and secure. But we give you the ability to perform the majority of those features in our cloud console or AutoFMS.
So if you
Outside
need
of that,
ODBC,
yeah,
probably a pro instance is your best bet.
that's correct.
But
Yeah.
if you don't and you're cool with everything else, and Essentials can be a real awesome starting point for people.
That's right. And right now we're offering Essentials in 8 regions.
Wow.
We've got multiple data centers in the US, LA and San Jose. We've got Chicago and New York, as well as Atlanta available. Our friends in Europe, we've got Amsterdam and London available, and then again our friends in Australia, we've got Sydney covered there. So we will geographically locate your Essentials instance wherever necessary. And then our backups are also compliant. Our backups go through custom built Cloudflare S3 container. So we're pushing there nightly. Not only the FileMaker databases and container data, but the system configuration as well. So like your DB's config and your SSL certs and and all the other stuff to rebuild you on the fly very quickly. So if something does happen, we can restore all parts of that FileMaker server and get you going in one piece without loss of anything.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Well, Angelo, I think we've covered most of the bases here. So to recap, Automatic Essentials is a containerized Docker specifically base instance that we're offering for FileMaker hosting, and it's available across many regions, 8, including Amsterdam, London, and Sydney, and also, of course, across the United States. Has all kinds of cool tunneling built-in HTTPS features that you don't need to worry about. Really performant, and we like it a lot. Has all the cool things that come out of the box. Like we like to say batteries included, which is the automatic cloud console and all that. It's a little different than our standard Pro package. You have a little less control, but all things considered, there's virtually everything that you can do on Pro, you can do on Essentials with a few caveats around admin and some backup, some advanced backups needs and so forth, right? I think I got it. Did I miss anything?
That pretty much covers it. Like I said, we try and do our best and develop products to help all types of companies out there, and this is one we wanted to get out for our devs, for our small shops, and anyone who can take advantage of it.
It sounds awesome. Thanks, Angelo.
Thank you, Ernest.